Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. Anthony Joshua versus Big Baby Jarrell Miller looks like it's set to face off in the United States, I believe, on June 1st or June 8th. They're still hammering out the details of this particular fight, and this is going to be a very interesting and intriguing fight. I think this fight is the only fight that makes sense at this point, considering the rest of the heavyweight division. A lot of people are talking about, why is Anthony Joshua fighting Jarrell Miller? A lot of people are saying that Anthony Joshua should be fighting Fury and Wilder or Dillian White. And why is this fight happening? Well, let's just break down a few things. One, I think this is a fantastic fight stylistically. I think this will tell us everything we need to know about Jarrell Miller, and we'll learn a lot about Anthony Joshua and how he deals with a guy that's over 300 plus pounds, who's going to come into the ring enormously huge, and who's going to come forward the entire fight. How does Anthony Joshua deal with that pressure? I think that's going to be an interesting story. I think Anthony Joshua stops Big Baby Jarrell Miller within about 6-7 rounds, but because of Jarrell Miller's massive size and weight, he may be able to hang on into the later rounds until about 9 or 10. But I could be completely wrong, and AJ could, just get him out of there much, much sooner. I think this is a huge coming out party for Anthony Joshua in the U.S. I think this makes sense to make Anthony Joshua into a global superstar. But first, let me just clear up a lot of myths, biased, things that these biased LDBC fangirls, biased ego, all these biased channels are coming out and saying, all these fanboys of Deontay Wilder. So let me just refute all of this lies and just break down the truth for what it is. The reason why Anthony Joshua is facing Big Baby Jarrell Miller is plain and simple, is that the entire heavyweight division at the top is ducking Anthony Joshua. You start off with Dillian White. Dillian White said he's gotten a lot of low ball offers, and according to him being a number one mandatory for the belt and the sanctioning bodies, he's entitled to about 20% of the purse. And Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn have already offered him more than 20% of the purse. So by that alone, it's not a low ball offer. It may not be what you want it to be, but it's still millions of dollars. You still get a fair deal, and then you're also getting a title shot at all of the belts except for one. You're getting the biggest shot against the biggest opponent, and if you win, you'll be able to call the shots, you'll be able to run the show. So why would you not want to take that opportunity? Because it seems like that Dillian White almost wants as close to 50-50 as possible, which is ridiculous, because Dillian White is not going to bring in the same cash that Wilder and Fury is going to bring in. It's not going to give Anthony Joshua a career high payday fighting Dillian White. Anthony Joshua's already beat Dillian White, so how can Anthony Joshua duck Dillian White, a guy he's already knocked out? He can't. I rate Dillian White very highly. I think Dillian White's a very good athlete, but I think that the Anthony Joshua fight for Dillian White right now is the wrong fight to make for Dillian. Dillian should be trying to fight Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury. He should be looking for other big fights because he's already fought Anthony Joshua. He needs more time to hone in and improve his skill sets, because Anthony Joshua's improved since their last fight as well. Although I think Dillian White versus Anthony Joshua would be a fantastic matchup right now, I think that it's too soon for Dillian White. I think it'll be a competitive fight. I think it'll be a close fight early, but eventually I think Anthony Joshua will outclass Dillian White once again and stop him. So at this point, if you're Dillian White, why would you want to cash out against Anthony Joshua? And then if you feel like it's not what you want, then you need to move on. At this point, don't come out and bash Anthony Joshua like he didn't want to fight or he's ducking you, because Anthony Joshua's already knocked you out. You can't duck someone you've already stopped. That's impossible. That's one. Two, they've already offered you more than what, the sanctioning bodies has already stated that you deserve or that you would get in this type of split. And three, Anthony Joshua's not getting a career high payday. This fight is not in demand like that. People would like to see the fight, but it's not a fight the whole boxing world is clamoring for. So let's be honest and unbiased. Let's move on to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury and his camp has already stated that they want 50-50 for Anthony Joshua, which is ludicrous. There's no fighter in the world that deserves 50-50. It's a precedent that's just not going to be set. And, if you had, Danny Jacobs saying, I'm not going to fight Canelo Alvarez unless they give me 50-50, that fight would never be made, because Canelo Alvarez is the A side. Canelo Alvarez can literally fight anybody in the heavyweight division, and then, in the middleweight division, and get a huge fight and a huge payday. He doesn't have to fight Danny Jacobs, and he's not going to give him 50-50. And that's the same with Anthony Joshua. He can fight anybody in his division. It does, and can make a huge payday, and doesn't have to be 50-50. Anthony Joshua's taking a chance and a risk in fighting in the U.S. and not in the U.K. for a reason, to build a brand, to build a name, and to become a global superstar and icon. That's what we want in boxing. We want to grow the sport of boxing. So why would we ever hate on that, be biased about that? Because at the end of the day, Tyson Fury does not deserve 50-50 against Anthony Joshua. He fought two bums and then basically schooled Deontay Wilder and was robbed. That's not enough to get 50-50 with Anthony Joshua, period. 60-40 that was offered to Tyson Fury is more than fair. Some people even feel like that may be too much. But the fact that Anthony Joshua offered him that much is huge. Then you look at Deontay Wilder asking for 50-50 when he's the notorious bum slayer. You've slayed bums your entire career, and then you come out and beat an old, flabby Luis Ortiz. And then you come out and get schooled by Tyson Fury, rob Fury of the victory, and then turn around and you ask for 50-50. It's clear what these guys are doing. They're pricing themselves out of the fight so they don't have to fight Anthony Joshua. They don't want to fight Anthony Joshua. They're not interested in Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is the only fight that matters in the heavyweight division, because if you're Deontay Wilder and you fight Anthony Joshua, then at that point you can become undisputed at heavyweight and no one can tell you anything. You're the absolute A-side in any fight you enter, and no one is bigger or above you. It's funny that Tyson Fury will take less money against Deontay Wilder but demand more against Anthony Joshua. I find that ludicrous. The fact that some people come out and have a biased notion and state that, Anthony Joshua, you've heard this everywhere from Dante's Bias Nation, the LDBC fangirls, all these groupies and biased ego, and you have all these people come out here and say, why is Anthony Joshua fighting Jarrell Miller in America but couldn't fight Deontay Wilder in America? Let me clear this up, because a lot of these people are idiots and fanboys and don't understand the way boxing works and how it breaks down. When you're an A-side fighting for the undisputed crown, all the belts, the biggest fight in the division and the biggest fight in the heavyweight division in the last decade plus, why would you not fight in your home? Why would you give up home field advantage in that type of fight? Anthony Joshua fighting Big Baby Jarrell Miller, the purpose that serves of that fight, that's not for undisputed. This is just another fight for Anthony Joshua. Undisputed is not just another fight. It's the biggest fight to be made in boxing. Understand that. Use your brain. Because these fanboys ignore that fact. They don't want to acknowledge that fact, because at the end of the day, these guys are all PBC fanboys. Once again, Unbiased, as always, is the Ibfp. Please share, like, and you must absolutely subscribe.